Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the seventh edition of India Affiliate Summit, co-presented by IMAI and B Commission, powered by Optimize Media, brought to you by Zapets Media in association with Tracker. Without any further ado, let's move on to the last presentation of the day on the topic of drop shipping to D2C, the easiest way to start and scale an e-commerce brand in India. Let me introduce you to our speaker, Mr. Vipul Garg. He's the CEO and co-founder from VCFL Express. I would request all the delegates to keep posting their question in the chat box, and we will address a few selected questions by the end of the session. Over to you, Mr. Garg.
Thank you, Shimani, and thank you, IMI, for having me here. Let me begin sharing with what I have to share with you today. But firstly, a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm just going to be going ahead and sharing my screen. So if you see my screen right and right, uh, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up so I know that I am rightly audible and you're able to hear me out. Wonderful. I have enough thumbs up. So good evening, everyone. I know it must have been a long day. This is the last session, but I would request you to hold up with me because I'm really excited to share something really cool with you. Uh, the topic of my presentation today is dropshipping to D2C, and I think as much distance apart or as much poles apart, it would seem like I am here to talk about and share with you all a blueprint, that we have been following with all of our partners, and what this is something that we have been doing as well. It's a blueprint to on the easiest way to start and scale an e-commerce business in India. And this is the exact blueprint that several global D2C brands talk about. Blendjet, Drop Bottle, all of these brands have followed and they have made it big, hit multiple seven figures, and they're heading for unicorn labels today, right now. But before we start, it's important we talk about who am I, what we do, and who are we, so you know that you who you are listening to. My name is Vipul Garg, and as Shivani mentioned, I'm the co-founder and CEO at VFulfill. That's a brand name, so and so. We started as a dropshipping platform in 2019, and eventually we grew into an everything managed ecosystem. We have been into this space for over a decade now. It's just that we started this platform 3 years back. And at VFulfill, we have built an everything managed ecosystem that helps e-com entrepreneurs to launch and grow an e-commerce business in India. So, in a nutshell, if you were to ask me what we do, I would say if you want to start your e-commerce business in India, we would we would simply say you do the marketing and we do everything else. Period. So that's typically a bit about us. And speaking of D2C, so and so, I think in 2021, India has been totally dominated by only two waves. First being the COVID wave, second being the D2C wave. And we're very sure, and I'm very sure that all of us would want to live in the era of D2C wave, and of course, not COVID safe. And while I say this, I really hope all of you are keeping safe. But speaking of the D2C wave over here, um, in just 2021 alone, 783 million plus dollars have been pumped into D2C brands. And Inc. 42 Plus says that this amount of funding has grown by 251 whooping percentage in just this year itself. So certainly, in 2021, it's clearly shaping up where D2C is like the new demon in their town and the new way people want to shop online, right? While D2C or running D2C is more of a customer first approach, and while it has all its perks because you get to get away from all the middlemen involved, there exists a D2C iceberg, which most tend to overlook. Okay, someone just came to me and said that my presentation is not visible, so I'm just going to be resharing. Probably I'm just going to be sharing my presentation here. Okay. Thank you, Yamini, for letting me know that my presentation was not visible. Let us go ahead and start from where we started off. Okay, so while I was saying that D2C is becoming like the next big thing out there, and you would see that D2C is dominating the entire advertiser space as well today. While most look at D2C as the perfect business model, and it is a perfect business model, there is an iceberg. There are certain areas which most tend to overlook, right? So while at D2C, most people would talk about marketing, serving a good consumer experience, having good products up around the table. uh, there are a lot of things that happen below the table, that form that lower part of the iceberg, and few of those things are to continuing to explore new products to increase the LTV, managing the compliances, managing the imports, doing fulfillment on a day-to-day basis, because unlike typical retailer models, you are now shipping out orders for each of these individual customers instead of bulk shipping to a wholesaler or retailer, right? uh, Talk about fulfillment, talk about logistics, talk about data, and to top it all, to do right experiments, at times D2C brands would have to take several decisions in the blind, right? Because it's too much data to consume otherwise, right? On the other side, there is another model that exists, which is called drop shipping. Okay, and there is a reason why we're particularly talking about drop shipping, right? And to understand drop shipping, unlike D2C, what you do in dropshipping is you select a partner basically, and you select some products which that partner is going to manage. So unlike D2C, here you only own the product, but someone else owns the supply chain for you. So when you bring in orders, you simply push the orders to that partner, and that partner would do the rest, including procurement, fulfillment, shipping, and everything, right? And say if you're charging your consumers 3x, you can choose to give this partner X and keep everything else as your profit, right? So that typically is drop shipping. So if you were to look at drop shipping and D2C and side by side, while you would see that drop shipping is a hassle-free operation based kind model, D2C would involve all of these operations, right? But at the same time, when you do drop shipping, it's more of a rinse and repeat model as compared to D2C, where you're actually able to make equity out of it, make valuation to a company out of it, right? And this is where we came in picture. We started some experiments, and this is what that top D2C brands globally have also done, right? We created a perfect blend of dropshipping and D2C and made a platform out of it, right? And this is exactly what I'm here to talk about. In a brief, talking about the three-phase blueprint that we have been following with our partners, that we have been doing to grow D2C brands to several millions. Uh, to talk about this blueprint, it's a three-phase blueprint, right? Where phase one typically involves product research and testing. The steps involved are research products. So to research products, you can choose to use product research tools like Jungle Scout, Ecom Lab, Ecom Hunt, or go about looking at products with novelty on global websites like Amazon.com or AliExpress.com, right? Or you could choose to always come to VFulfill's product research tool, where we have a series of products. We invest heavily in building a series of products that carry novelty, that have not been seen before. So you have very high chances to be able to penetrate into that market. Uh, right. Step two is set up a quick Shopify store. Step three is test products for optimal CPA. The idea is that if you are selecting 10 products that you want to test, you want to land down to those 2 or 3 products where your CPA is really optimal, right? So that you don't have to overspend when you're marketing for those products, right? So, and what you do is then you zero down on the winners, okay? Once you zero down on the winners, you know that these are your winners, and that's where your step two would come in. And here's a quick screenshot from the vfulfill product research tool. You can always go to vfulfill.io. It's a free to use platform. Just sign up free and you would be able to look at all the products. Drop us an email or ping us if you're interested. But anyway, it's not about us, it's about you, right? So the phase two here is to take off with more confidence. Now that you have your winners in place, you know which products are doing great. And you have been doing all of this in dropshipping model, okay? So please note that. So what you do is now select some more related products to add as upsells or downsells, so that you are able to set a funnel out of it to increase that overall average order value, correct? Step two is you pump those marketing budgets and you begin to optimize your store for UX and conversions. And it is here you also go for custom packaging if you want to, or probably just add ribbons or things like those to increase that perceived value when your customer would get that. And you also begin to focus on calling so as to optimize the delivery rate, the delivery rate that you're getting. Now there are several hacks that go behind the scene. 50 minutes is too short a time to talk about all of that, but we are always open to talking about all of these things. So if you're interested, come feel free to come back. But the idea is, if you're a marketer, you'd be able to do it yourself as well, right? So phase three here is to grow, and it's the time when we say it's the time to switch to custom branding, right? So what we recommend here is, in step three, set up a new branded store. Okay, please mind the keyword new and branded, right? Go for private labeling, because now you have more confidence on the product, and that itself is the idea anyway, right? Do not go for blind decision making, correct? And it's the time when you can choose to start calling yourself an emerging D2C, and the idea is to just scale to the moon, right? So overall, phase one, go to the product research tool or do your own product research, find out some products that you want to test, run some ads, test those products. Once you have tested those products, zero down on the winners. Once you have zeroed down on the winners, go back and uh, you know just scale those products, go for custom packaging, and once you have done all of that, feel free to scale. This way you'll be able to always grow an e-com brand the best way possible, and without any blind investments, without any blind decision making. You know what decision are you taking, you know what money are you pumping and why are you pumping that money. And yeah, while you build your D2C brand in an informed manner like this, you can always choose to use Fulfill for everything, 0 to 1, like literally 0 to 1. From your testing stage to your scaling stage, when you're building D2C, we would handle everything from logistics to fulfillment, procurement, import, compliance, and everything through a DIY platform. Okay. Best part, it's free to use. So if you have any questions, we are always open. That's it. That's all that I wanted to share about. If you want to connect with me at vf.chat/Vipul. Uh, that's pretty much about it, and I'm open to all your questions in the next 2 minutes. Okay, someone's got a question. Do we see any repeat customers from the same store? So when you are at the testing stage, I would say don't bother about it. Okay, the idea is to always continue to test products, and once you have tested those products, add them to your branded store, which is where you are actually focusing on that right consumer experience, all of those growth hacks that you want to use, and that's where you want to have those repeat customers. But when you're testing products, you don't want to bother about it. The idea is to only check for your marketing spend and the money that you're making out of it. That's entirely about it. Um, Someone's asking another question. Do sellers sell from them while carving a niche typically? Um, No, I don't think so, because see, when you do drop shipping, typically sellers are very aware that this is being sold on drop shipping, so they would not want to touch your consumer base. When it comes to using VFulfill, we know about it. We are the suppliers ourselves, so it's pretty much secured and safe. Like, we wouldn't want to get into your bed at all. That's the key about it, if I were to put it right. Do you mean private labeling as rebranding? Yes. So if you were to rebrand at step three, it's ideal that you go for private label, because that's how you can actually set up equity for your store. Because you have to demonstrate that you own that product and it's your R&D and stuff. Max price can sell for, or the recommendation price. Well, we generally recommend, as a rule of thumb, 3x of your cost of goods and services, not the marketing spend. But this rule is just a thumbs rule, and it could typically vary in terms of which product are you using. But yeah, we generally recommend 3x of your cost of goods and services, and that's the key about VFulfill. We would actually give you a right prediction of COGS, right? So you always know. Unlike typical e-commerce, where you do not know your net profitability, here you would exactly know your profitability from day one. That's the key behind it, actually. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. These are all the questions that I can see right now. Shivani, do you see any other questions?
Actually, Vipul, we already have exceeded our limit, so I think we should wrap it up right now.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I thank you all for being a part of the show here. I think it was the last session. Very well hosted, and thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you, Vipul. Thank you so much for your time, and a special thanks to our audience as well. For joining us for the whole day. And there is the last presentation of the day. We do have other session planned. Please stay tuned and check out those session as well as our expo booth. We are signing off for the day. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, everyone.